Dana White has came out to say that they're having trouble negotiating with Francis Ngannou's contract in the UFC. So I mean that's interesting because he said, I'm pretty sure he said it's his last fight on the contract, but I'm pretty sure if he wins against Cyril Gane on UFC 270 next month, then I think it's extended by either another fight or another year. It's not really clear, but I mean that's crazy that he that he'd be on his last fight, and he hasn't really negotiated yet to re-sign, which I think he probably will end up. I mean, there's no other MMA organization he could possibly be going to unless he moves on to boxing, which is, I mean, that would
Or Bellator.
or Bellator. I mean, who knows? But definitely, I don't see him going to Bellator. But yeah, I mean that's super interesting. And if you were to go into boxing, obviously he's discussed, had a little bit of a back and forth with Tyson Fury for a potential boxing match, which honestly, that would be that would definitely be a mega fight in boxing, and Francis Ngannou would finally be getting paid what he's worth, because he's talked a lot about that, how he wants he believes he's worth more, and he wants to be paid for what he's worth. So I mean, fighting Tyson Fury in a boxing match would definitely get his pay, but would it be a smart decision to get in the boxing ring with Tyson Fury?
Yeah, like
It's debatable.
Ngannou's been talking a lot, especially since he's become champion, about his pay, and he feels like he deserves more. And of course Dana recently coming out with the complications with trying to negotiate with Francis, and how he's talking about his management and everything. So at this point, who even knows, with all the crazy stuff that has been happening, and maybe we see Francis take a dive into the boxing world, but I don't. At first, I don't really see how a fight between Fury and Ngannou could be made in the beginning. Who knows if there's like a super, because imagine Ngannou's fighting for the belt, for a belt in boxing, and
Yeah,
he just won it. You
that'd be
know,
crazy.
like,
That'd just be
yeah,
dumb.
I don't see how it really makes sense in the first place. But if it were to happen, it would be, well, first of all, that would be crazy. But I don't really see a way that Ngannou wins other than hitting that big punch and knocking Fury out. But otherwise, I don't see a chance.
Tyson's one of the biggest heavyweights alive. I mean, he's 6'9", an absolute specimen of a human, 270 pounds, and is the current lineal WBC heavyweight champion. So, and he's undefeated. Like, so if we're gonna be talking about who's gonna dethrone Tyson, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be Francis Ngannou. But I mean, who knows anymore? Francis Ngannou did start his combat sports career originally wanting to be a boxer. He started off boxing, and he idolized Mike Tyson, of course, and that was really his main goal. But then someone suggested to him to do MMA, and that's what he decided to pursue. And he ended up here as the champion of the UFC. So, I mean, anything could happen, really, but it's really hard imagining a world where Tyson Fury loses to Francis Ngannou or even fights him,
Yeah, definitely.
because it's definitely a hard fight to make,
And
especially
especially
with
with
Tyson.
boxing and everything,
Yeah,
who knows?
especially
Like,
with
there's so many things.
yeah, and especially with Tyson being the current champion, it really doesn't make sense for someone who's never had a professional boxing match to fight the current champion. I mean, we saw obviously Conor McGregor versus Floyd, but Floyd wasn't a champion at that time.
Yeah, it was very
He
different.
was
He's
he was
older. He's
retired.
pretty much retired. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So he's just coming back for a money fight. But this is way different.
yeah,
Fury's arguably, or in his prime,
yeah,
just won
definitely.
just retained as WBC champion, and probably looking to fight Usyk sometime
Yeah.
soon if he beats AJ in the rematch to unify the belts. And then watching Ngannou just strolls on in, and then magically knocks out Fury and becomes the
Yeah.
unified heavyweight champ.
I mean, and like considering like Tyson's amazing technical boxing ability, like he's one of the best boxers in the world, pound for pound, easily in the top 10. And his boxing ability, his movement, his head movement, his accuracy, his footwork, and all these different attributes he has, his heart, his cardio, his skill, everything. He has a heart of a champion, and he just has that champion mentality where he doesn't care about anything. He's gonna get up from whatever you throw at him, and we saw that in his last fight against Deontay Wilder. I mean, if the biggest puncher in boxing, Deontay Wilder, could fight him 3 times and not get him out of there, I definitely don't see how Nagano would.
Yeah,
And
especially Ngannou with having no like real boxing fight experience, and
yeah,
Wilder has, of course, they're kind of similar in a way where they're both super powerful punchers, except Wilder has the Olympic background,
yeah,
has some amateur background to an extent, and of course, actual boxing fights experience, unlike Ngannou's, who would just be transitioning to MMA. So I just don't really see any like possibility. Well, first of all, yeah, like we've been saying, how the fight happens and how Ngannou would manage to win unless he got a huge shot on Fury that put him out, but I heavily doubt it.
Yeah, but besides Fury, there are still other matchups in heavyweight. Obviously, there's Usyk, there's AJ, there's Wilder. I mean, a fight between Francis Ngannou versus Wilder, the two biggest punchers in the world. That would be crazy to see, honestly, because you have the hardest puncher of boxing meeting the hardest puncher in the UFC, and that would just be a crazy fight. I don't even know how that one would turn out, but I mean, it would probably end up with Wilder coming
Yeah,
on
that
top
probably.
because I mean
He's more
he's a
experienced in
boxer.
boxing.
Yeah,
He's
he's
a
a
boxer.
boxer. He's a boxing former boxing world champion.
But at least Ngannou would make his bread. It would make his money.
Yeah, and also Anthony Joshua, probably the same story. Joshua would definitely take care of him. Usyk,
Yeah, definitely.
again,
Both like
yeah, like
all
oh,
top
yeah,
heavyweights, pretty much.
all top all top heavyweights would
But it
definitely
would be a spectacle for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Quite the spectacle.
But to see Francis Ngannou at least try it would definitely be cool to see because I mean it just shows he's open to new things. He's he's willing to take those risks because he's not a boxer. He doesn't do boxing. So if he were to enter the boxing ring, I mean good on him and get the money, man.
Just
Because
make the money, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I mean Tyson Fury is not the way to go, especially when you consider I mean his extensive experience, his whole life being a boxer.
Yeah, and it's also cool just it's just entertaining to see Fury. I was just kind of, playing like with it, just going back and forth
Yeah.
with tweets with Ngannou. They just trash talking each other. And it's just funny. Imagine Fury came into MMA. Imagine they had like some
Yeah.
hybrid thing. Not the Triller garbage with the triad whatever, but like a hybrid type fight. That would be quite
That'd be
interesting
crazy.
and a spectacle. But yeah, but overall in the thing, I just definitely don't see it happening at all.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Francis Ngannou maybe entering boxing, but
Yeah, maybe
if
entering it, but
if he were, I could see it probably against another MMA fighter. I don't think he would do it against a boxer, especially like an
yeah,
elite boxer. Maybe an out of maybe a
like a
box
retired one.
yeah like a retired maybe like I don't know Roy Jones or something. I don't know really I don't really know who.
Right, nah, that would.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
I
haven't
still I
seen
don't
this fighting an MMA fighter maybe in boxing or just like
yeah.
I don't know, maybe just some boxer.
I mean, Roy Jones is way too old now.
Yeah,
So, and same with like Mike Tyson, any of these guys. They just
it would
should
just
not be
be
getting in
weird to
the ring
see.
anymore. Yeah, they're done. Like, cause they're legends. They've done everything there is to do. There's no point of coming back at 50 years old, whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, we saw what happened to Evander Holyfield when he got in the ring with Vitor Belfort. I mean, that was just sad, bro. Like that should have never happened. Shame on Triller for putting that on. Like that was crazy. I was literally watching that
Terrible,
in just
terrible.
disbelief because what are you doing? Like you're putting in a 58-year-old Evander Holyfield with Vitor Belfort. He's 15 years
The
younger,
fact that
and
that was allowed
yeah,
is
yeah,
just disgusting.
yeah.
Honestly,
That was just
just
bad. But
saddening.
back on the note of Francis Ngannou, I mean, there's different matchups. Maybe you wouldn't, maybe you'd fight a boxer, but maybe not in the top five or top 10. Maybe
Yeah,
you'd fight a lesser. Maybe you'd fight
maybe just
someone
a
like a
boxer.
Derek Chisora, or someone who's not really at the highest of levels, but is still considered a boxer. So
Yeah,
I mean, we'll
like
see.
he definitely could have a lot of fun fights, but like
Yeah.
championship level Tyson Fury just makes no sense,
I mean, maybe
especially in his prime.
if he really dedicated himself for like multiple years to boxing, which he definitely would not
Well,
do
he's already 35, so
I mean, yeah, I know, but yeah, I definitely don't see him dedicating himself to boxing, especially because his success in MMA, and there's really no point unless you're really chasing the bag that hard and you really believe that you can actually become like a big deal in boxing. I mean, who
yeah,
knows?
no,
But
I
I
don't,
definitely,
don't
yeah,
see
it just doesn't make sense, and it's not gonna happen to be honest. So, I mean, yeah, there's that. Francis Ngannou entering boxing. Who knows?